everyone. Welcome to another podcast of Honor presented here on pwponderings.com. There's just a ton of stuff to talk about with Ring of Honor, so of course I could not do this alone. I had to bring along Ari Berenstein and Chris Vicchio to join and talk about everything Ring of Honor, including just Winter Warriors Tour. That's the most important thing we're going to talk about right now. So Ari, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Well, you mean you could do this alone, but it would be very lonely. So, we're here to help, fill in the silence.
Exactly.
It would be podcastibation if he was doing it by himself.
Oh.
Nice word there. Nice word there, Mikio. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I think today makes 100 days away from the wedding, so I think we're getting close.
Oh.
The countdown begins.
Yes, I've been hearing about it all week, so I figured I would get it out of the way quickly.
Well, take one down and pass it around, and 99 bottles of beer on the wall before the wedding.
Now, since we're 100 days out, do you have some type of really spiffy name for the final days? Huh? Is there a countdown name or something like that?
No, not really.
That's unfortunate.
All I keep hearing in the back of my mind as we get closer and closer is REM. It's the end of the world as we know it.
Oh, come on now,
man! That's
your fiance better not hear this podcast.
She's not home. She's actually out with one of her friends tonight, so I can say whatever I want now.
That would explain it. It's Mikio Unleashed.
That's it. That's the name of the tour, the Mikio Unleashed tour.
There you go.
Yes.
That's what we're gonna call the last 100 days.
# one last ride.
Yes. Oh man. But hey, you know what? That's what we're here to talk about. Just some really interesting names for tours and everything else surrounding Ring of Honor. But I guess, we should start off, since the last time we recorded this, obviously one of the bigger news items was Michael Elgin. I think I've given my thoughts now on the weekly newscast. I'll probably give a little bit of a the tidbit version here, but Ari, I'll go to you first. It's basically come out that it's a work. I think we all know that by now, but what are your thoughts about it, the way that it was presented, the use of social media, that kind of stuff, just everything going on?
Short and sweet. I'm just really overall happy to hear that Elgin was able to get back into the United States. First of all, that's I think that's priority number one. And now that that's accomplished, I hope he doesn't run into any future problems. And then, everything that's come afterwards. He had the baseball logo shirt that he started selling, and I think that's kind of funny and kind of smart to capitalize on controversy like that. And then obviously with this, work shoot angle of him quote unquote quitting Ring of Honor, and we'll see where it heads. But it's not the first time that Ring of Honor has tried to run outside the box. Going all the way back in time, you certainly have the idea of Ring of Honor has outsiders coming in and doing different things, or people taking umbrage with Ring of Honor and leaving, protesting. Kevin Steen did it very notably with his sort of guerrilla campaigning to get back to Ring of Honor after he lost his match against El Generico. So it's not unoriginal, but it's not like we haven't seen something like this before. What I'm concerned about is hearing all these like reading on the Observer, like all this stuff about Michael Elgin breaking down because he's wrestling in front of 40 people. I don't, Elgin denied it. God knows what I'm sure whatever the situation is, there's who's feeding Meltzer these things to put into his newsletter, and is it as part of the work? Is it not? It's all very circumspect, I'll say, and I'm just like I said, the priority is Elgin is back and he can continue his wrestling career, whatever form or shape it'll take in America, and he'll be reunited with his wife and back to his house. So on that level, I'm on a personal level, I'm very sympathetic. I always said I was very sympathetic to all that, and I'm just glad to hear that that part of the story is done with. And as far as Elgin is a rebel in Ring of Honor, if he comes back one day, or if he joins up with Ciampa, because Ciampa's also doing something similar, there's some good possibilities to do stuff here and sort of skirt around the edges of what is reality and what is wrestling storyline in 2014, 2015.
Mickey, what are your thoughts on it? I mean,
Uh,
because obviously it's very convoluted, like, and I think Ari just put it very well that
yeah.
we've seen it before, but
Listen,
still.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think to a certain extent, it's probably making the best of a bad situation, in the sense that, do we really know whether or not the immigration issues were true? Um, that's something that you really can't know for sure. And if it is true, if it was legit, doing what they've done with it in the aftermath, I think it's telling a really interesting story, and I like the direction they're going with it. Um, I'm happy to know that he's going to be back. I just I'm kind of curious at this point, with him not being on the shows last weekend, or at least not even making an appearance on the shows that they've done since he's been back, how they're going to reintroduce him. I don't know that you really want to have the two renegade characters, like having him and Ciampa doing a similar act. I don't know if I want to see that, but I'm just happy to know that he is back in the States. He's back at home with his wife, and that's the most important thing as far as Michael Elgin the person is concerned. As far as in the ring, we all know what he can do. I'm happy to see him back, but let's get some direction and let's get him on a show. Actually, that's the thing that I want to see. I want to see him on a show and booked for a show.
Well, I mean, I don't doubt that his being, stranded in Canada, was not. I'm pretty sure that's legitimate. I mean, if that's part of like some gigantic work, that's got to be like on the level of Teddy Hart craziness, and I just can't imagine that's possible right
Yeah,
now.
but we've talked about the whole idea of what happened with that, and so many people across the internet were pointing fingers at all different parties involved with that. The reality is everybody's a little bit at fault in that situation.
Yeah.
Everybody screwed up.
Well, and the fact that Silesia Sparks is also in a similar situation where she can't come.
Again, but it's again, if
I don't see it being a work. Not part of it anyway.
With that situation though, everybody holds responsibility in that situation. If you're an adult and you are traveling from country to country, you need to make sure that your shit is updated. Everybody knows that. You got to take care of this stuff. You can't leave it up to your employer, because your employer is not going to be the one that gets stuck at the border. So, in that sense,
let's not get GST worked up about this, because I remember the newscast he did with Jerome. That was fun.
But it's true. You're not your employer's name on your passport or on any of your papers. It's yours. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to make sure that your papers are straight.
Sure. And like we said last time,
I felt awful for the whole situation, but at the same time, you got to be responsible for yourself. You can't leave it up to anybody else, because when you leave something like that up to somebody else, it doesn't get done right, and then you look like the asshole, not them.
Yeah, like we said last time, I think Ring of Honor really did look into Jay Briscoe, the decision to switch to Jay Briscoe as champion. And it's going to be, it's not really about, going backwards for Elgin. I think it's, he's going to, if and when he comes back into Ring of Honor, he's going to have, it's not going to be the same as it was in the build-up to his title run here. It's got to be something different. And, obviously maybe the end goal will to be, he's going to set his sights on the title again. But, his agenda, his motivation, I would hope to see that somewhat reflective of, what he wants to do with this work, this angle, if it is indeed an angle. Which most people seem to think it is, but hey,
So it sounds like both of you, though, are kind of in the agreement that, in a way, the ends justify the means, in that this was kind of out of the box thinking, and at least it got people talking, got the buzz going on. Do you think more people are interested now in the product because of this?
No, I don't think it increases the interest in it. I think it increases the interest in the sense that people want to see what's going to happen, but it's the same people who were interested before are going to be interested now. I don't think a storyline like this is going to bring in new viewers.
Yeah, I think at this point, doing Twitter angles is not as effective as it might have been a few years ago, because it's sort of in part, like I said, things like this have happened before. It's sort of a been there, done that. So, the Twitter's storyline stuff has become incorporated into, the kayfabe world of a lot of different promotions. So you often see, sometimes wrestlers will tweet about their personal life, or they'll promote their upcoming dates, and then you'll see them go into business and do do Twitter, cut those small Twitter comments on whoever they're going to be wrestling in the coming weeks, and the other person goes back and forth. So, something like this happening on Twitter. I mean, Twitter is where, and Facebook and social media, it's where the stuff breaks, and then people pick it up on forums and discuss it, and then it's all really corroborated or delved into more detail with the newsletters and podcasts that come around. So, really the Twitter stuff is the beginning of the process. And for a company like Ring of Honor that does a lot of stuff on the internet, I just think it's become part and parcel. So I honestly think that the people who are aware of Ring of Honor are now, are into it, but I'm not quite sure it's going to drum up more business or newer eyes per se. But, it is something interesting or different for Michael Elgin in the aftermath of all this controversy. And, Ring of Honor, the criticism has always been, well, they take too long on some storylines and they do slow burn stuff. But, when they get to a new direction, it's interesting to see what they do with it at the time.
Well, we're going to get into some of those directions after we take care of some business with the results that happened. 2 shows have happened since the last time we recorded. The unauthorized Michael Bennett's Bachelor Party hosted by Adam Cole, and then Champions versus All-Stars. Yes, I'm sure all of us were we're sad that we weren't invited, but it's now on VOD.
I'm pretty sure somebody's going to have their own Bachelor Party pretty soon.
If you lived in the Chicagoland area, you could have been invited for the cost of a ticket.
Well, I don't, so I'm now just offended.
But I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there.
Well, now we're all invited to see all the antics because now it's on VOD as well as Champions vs. All-Stars, so you can go check that out, ROHWrestling.com, obviously. Hopefully we'll have reviews of both shows up, even though one of them was technically not a Ring of Honor show, quote-unquote. So, real quick on the results for this, Red Dragon of Fish, Colorado defeated Jay Lethal, Truth Martini. In a 6-woman tag match, Heather Patera, Leah Von Dutch, and Veda Scott defeated Crazy Mary Dobson, Scarlett Bordeaux, and Taylor Hendricks. Roderick Strong defeated Mark Briscoe. Tommaso Ciampa defeated Cheeseburger in basically what was a squash. And then he had a more significant match with Delirious, who made a rare appearance in Ring of Honor. Cedric Alexander defeated ACH. Jay Briscoe versus Rhino was basically interrupted as the Kingdom came out to lay the beat down, and that led to Rhino, who even though was paid by Adam Cole, joining the Briscoes to team up and defeating Adam Cole, Matt Taven, and Michael Bennett. Yes, Matt Taven is that Matt that was returning, even though I don't know, has that occurred on TV already? I'm kind of far behind.
I will tell you this: Matt Waters, another Matt, he got his wish, and Rhino essentially a babyface or turned babyface on the show.
I was talking this about Joe. Rhino is the most over person everywhere. It doesn't even matter. I don't know why we even have to discuss
he's the man beast, baby.
Look, if they just wanted to swerve everyone and have Rhino be the TV champion, not world champion, but TV champion,
I'd be all for it. I'd be all for it.
I'm just saying, Rhino he's over. There's no other way to put it. You can't deny it when he gets the crowd going. I'm not saying he's gonna have 4 or 5-star stellar matches, but whatever.
You know what you're gonna get when he's in there, and it's like that that visceral kind of he's gonna beat somebody up thing, and there's something fun to that. There always has been.
Exactly.
I mean, I like Rhino, but I'm pretty sure this is sort of like just a fun little side job here. I don't see him coming back to on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean he has to worry about being booked for TNA again, right?
Oh, of course, he's got to hold out for that. Really. He really does.
Or maybe global.
We'll talk about that later on as well. So, Champions vs. All-Stars, the most significant of the Ring of Honor shows that occurred on the weekend. The attendance was reported to be around 500. You know what? Good for them. It's Kalamazoo, Michigan. I'm pretty sure they've done regularly around that number before, but still, you know what? It's better than other promotions. I don't have to make the same joke again. So, on a pre-show match... Yeah, exactly. Pre-show match, Jay Diesel, he defeated someone with a jackhammer. Nigel Williams came out to announce the show, and Mark Briscoe would not be wrestling due to apparently poison ivy. That's rough. That's rough. Tommaso Ciampa was his replacement.
Literally.
Yeah, literally. So let's see. BJ Whitmore defeated Will Ferreira. And you know what? I'm really glad that Will Ferreira got a shot, kind of being on the main roster, because I think he's one of the students that has a really bright future. You know, I'm not too sure if you guys have seen him recently, but you saw him at Field of Honor, obviously.
Right.
So
Right.
I think he's got a good upside.
Mention that.
T.D. Thomas defeated Owen Tavers. Christopher Daniels defeated Cedric Alexander in what was said to be one of the best matches of the night. Jimmy Jacobs defeated Kazarian. Matt Taven defeated the Romantic Touch. And then in the Champions versus All-Stars match, Jay Briscoe, the champion, won it for his team. That included Jay Lethal, Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly. Defeated Adam Cole, Tommaso Ciampa, ACH, and Roderick Strong. So these were the eliminations, and then we're going to get into this because it's interesting leading up to some of the more other controversial stuff that happened a couple weeks ago.
It should be noted that unlike last year, this match did not go over an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, only 49 minutes. I'm actually kind of disappointed.
A tidy 49 minutes.
I'm disappointed. I don't, I expect an hour. That's what I want to watch. But hey, 49 minutes. That's one TV episode, kind of. So ACH, he got the surprise pin, eliminating Jay Lethal. Tommaso Ciampa was eliminated by DQ. Basically, the old Eddie Guerrero spot. Kyle O'Reilly tossed basically a title belt at Ciampa and then fell down, and the ref turned around and thought it was Ciampa. And you know what? It should be noted that this is I think the second or third time that Paul Turner has been the ref that disqualified Ciampa. So just saying.
So he's going to get a beating one of these days.
Well, he seems to be the official that Ciampa kind of goes after. So Kyle O'Reilly was pinned by Roderick Strong. And then immediately following Bobby Fish, and he schoolboyed Roderick Strong to eliminate him. ACH got the pinfall on Bobby Fish. And then Adam Cole, he apparently kept trying to get ACH to cheat against Briscoe, and ACH wasn't going to go for that. It ended up being Jay Briscoe pinning Adam Cole and then pinning ACH, defeating the last two people in the match. And I guess this is where I'm going with this. ACH missed the pay-per-view essentially because of a missed flight, and there was word going around that he had some heat with the office. And then we have this where it's clear that he was the guy being pushed, and going into Glory by Honor, which is, we should note in San Antonio, Texas, ACH is going to get the title shot. Mikio, did you think that this was kind of interesting given what we had previously heard about ACH and management and how that relationship was going?
Yeah, absolutely. It really kind of surprised me. It felt kind of out of left field because, with the story that you just kind of laid out there, you'd figure that maybe he'd have to kind of go back down to the bottom. And then when I read the results as they were coming in the night of the show, when I saw that he'd beaten Lethal so quickly, it was kind of like, all right, well, maybe they're just going to go with him in a program with Lethal for the TV title and kind of take it from there. But then when I saw that he made it all the way to the end, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, really? But obviously they worked out their differences and they figured out, what's going to, where they're going to go from here. And maybe he was contrite with missing the show and, realized that, he made a mistake and probably owned up to it. And, now they're going to just go forward with him. But like we said before we started talking on the air for this, being that he is from Texas and having that title shot coming up in his home state, maybe they think it's going to help drum up a little bit of sales. Hometown boy gets a shot. It's a great old school kind of technique to bring in an audience to a local kind of show. So I think it'll be all right. I don't know that I know that him and Briscoe will put on a good match, but stylistically, it's gonna be interesting. But when I sit back and I think about it, the thing with me with title matches is I want to have the idea in my head that at least there's a chance that someone wins, so that the challenger wins. And I just don't see ACH beating Briscoe for the ROH title. I just don't see it.
Ari, what are your thoughts on the results of the event? And yeah, same question to you. Were you surprised that ACH seems to be getting the push right now?
Not surprised that ACH got the title shot, or a title shot, but yeah, I was surprised to see him get the title shot for Glory by Honor 13. Because obviously for one of the bigger marquee Ring of Honor events such as it is, I kind of agree with Mikio that it's hard to see ACH getting the win over Jay Lethal, especially since he is figured into the TV title picture against Jay Lethal.
Jay Briscoe, you mentioned.
That's right. I'm sorry. Yeah. Too many J's in this company. There's Jay Lethal, Jay Briscoe, Jay Diesel. I mean, something's got to give here. We got to call some people like Garrison or something. So look, it didn't make sense to me until, or it was. It's not that it didn't make sense, but it was a pleasant surprise, and it kind of made sense once I started to realize, oh yeah, it's in San Antonio, and Lethal and ACH put on an excellent match a couple of years ago at the first San Antonio show, Honor in the Heart of Texas, and it just makes sense that they build off of ACH there. So it's good to see that. And honestly, I think that Ring of Honor is at a point where they can't afford not to push ACH because, as I wrote a couple months ago, the guy is very over with the crowd, and he's a young and upcoming talent. He's exciting. He's different from what a lot of other people offer, even as a high flyer. I mean, obviously, you want to talk about the best of high flyers. It's our flyers. It's Ricochet by a mile, but ACH is definitely got a lot to offer in that category also. And, Ring of Honor is not going to get Ricochet right now. So I think you go with what you have, you push who you have, and ACH is definitely one of those guys who they can't afford not to, put the emphasis on him, even, whatever backstage, rigmarole or what have you. And I think the fact that he sort of during the bachelor party show, he came out with a Game Boy to sort of poke fun at, the fact that he has like a tendency to play video games behind there and get hyped up, I guess, too much. So I think he's willing to laugh at himself a little bit, and he's willing to go out there and, even on like it's an offbeat show and sort of like point the finger at himself there. Maybe that sort of helped a little bit. And, obviously, ACH should figure big in the big picture. I think he should win the TV title from Jay Lethal probably at the Final Battle. The guy's good. The guy is really good, and the fans love him. So, you can't afford not to go with him at this point.
And putting a TV title on him would be the perfect fit for right now.
Right.
It would give him the chance to have a title run. If the crowd really reacts well to it and responds to him as in the champion role, then you could really start to consider maybe going down the line with a big title run.
Yeah, and it's not to say that even though you can't necessarily envision ACH winning the title, that he won't convince the fans live that there's a huge move or two that he does will they'll bite on the fall.
Right, and
there's been tons of title matches in the past where even like Samoa Joe versus Jay Briscoe back in the day. Jay was very, very young, but even then, he was able to kind of put himself over with Samoa Joe and get over the fact that there are circumstances where he could have won the title, and he didn't. Obviously,
he can legitimize himself as a true contender.
Yeah, maybe not now, but
if he has a competitive match with if they let him have a fully competitive match with Briscoe at that show, where like you said, where he gets those spots where it looks close, like he might be able to win. It elevates him, so it makes that TV title win, if he gets one in December. It makes it all kind of string together that this is a guy who's on a roll. He's moving forward. He's shown that he can hang with the big dogs of the company. And now he gets another title shot. Yeah, he didn't win the big title on the first shot, but now he gets the TV title, and boom, and you take it run from there.
Agreed on all accounts with everything both of you guys said. Speaking of Final Battle, though, we did learn this past week that it's going to be the second traditional pay-per-view for Ring of Honor, so I think that's kind of exciting. The Observer's reporting it's going to be around the $24.95 range. That's still, hey, it's a pretty good price. And considering how big Final Battle usually is in the calendar year for Ring of Honor, I think that's a great price.
Absolutely.
But we've learned some other news, obviously, for it as well. I mean, it's obviously Jay Briscoe, knock on wood, getting past the challenges that he's going to face leading up there, and we'll talk about that too, the survival of the fittest, several TV tapings, whatever. If we are under the assumption that Jay Briscoe will still be the champion leading into Final Battle, AJ Styles lost his IWGP title to Tanahashi, something that I think all of us kind of predicted. And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts that if it is Jay Briscoe versus AJ Styles, and I'll go to you first on this, is that a big enough main event for Final Battle?
I don't know. I actually don't think it's going to be AJ Styles versus Jay Briscoe. I think it's going to be Adam Cole versus Jay Briscoe, or Adam Cole versus Jay Briscoe versus AJ Styles. Should they add Styles into the, to the show if they announce him at a later date as sort of like an extra big surprise? But I mean, maybe it's not that they're not incapable. It's just that obviously, just from an on paper standpoint, Jay's a great wrestler, great in tag, great in singles. Obviously, he's very marketable, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, I would need to see how they build it up to if they can make it big. I don't know if it's got the right dynamic right now. I think the dynamic is actually between Styles and Cole, but this thing's just sort of kind of skewed that sideways. So yeah,
that's a good point. That's
I
actually a
think,
good point. And that's something I'll lead into
really
Mikio, because Mikio's the one that mentioned it to us off air.
Right.
That they released a list of talents that have already signed to be on Final Battle, and Mikio, you noticed a name that clearly wasn't there.
Yeah, AJ Styles is not listed as one of the people signed to appear as of right now, which I found to be absolutely shocking. I think when we all sat down and talked about the prospects for Final Battle when I got the tickets for it in August, we all kind of figured that Styles would be figuring in the top of that card, and then to get this early release, and it is still early, of course, and there's still plenty of time to add him to the show. You figure that you would have wanted to have the biggest names at the top of the list right off the bat for the show. I mean, I know that they're talking about on all their social media platforms that it's almost sold out already. I know that Bobby Cruz and Todd Sinclair had both mentioned it on their Facebooks that it was getting close to being sold out. And we talked about this before we went on the air. The venue that they're running for Final Battle, Terminal 5 in New York City, is about 900 seats or so, give or take, smaller than where they used to run at Hammerstein. So you figured that they would have, wanted to have the firepower up front to get rid of those last tickets. But like Ari said when we talked off air, there's still a lot of time before the show happens, and they probably will add them. And I know, Chris, you went and you did some research to check AJ Styles' actual, tour schedule, and he is clear for the day of the show. So I would hope he would make the show. I do think that, he is booked for for which show coming up with ROH. Do you remember which show he's going to be at?
I believe he's booked for isn't he booked for the TV tapings and I'm gonna look.
I don't think he's booked for Glory by Honor.
He's booked for the Reload tour. Let's see. Is he? I think it's a Survival of the Fittest, isn't it? That he's booked for.
Let me check.
I'm looking right now, so I got the website up. I don't think he's on Glory by Honor.
It's a race.
It's not on Survival of the Fittest.
Oh, he is not. That's a
nope.
That is unfortunate. Oh wait, so that would be November 8th. He would be in what is it? I already forgot.
He's not booked for Glory by Honor either.
I was just looking at his schedule. He's in Japan during that week, isn't he?
Right, but he's also not booked for Glory by Honor. So it's like if they're gonna do something with him to put him into the title picture, they're gonna have to do it on that TV taping, I guess. Then.
Yeah, he's in Osaka on November 8th, so yeah. But on the 15th, he's in the JPW return show, which is it's kind of funny, and it probably just to me. But anyway, yeah, they have quite a bit of time, still. I mean, if they can book something, and I mean, he's essentially kind of the Brock Lesnar of Ring of Honor, right? He's the big name that only comes in every so often, and it keeps him special, I think. Because he's AJ Styles. He shouldn't be, like everyone else, kind of.
Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels and Kazarian are definitely confirmed for a Final Battle. So, I mean, they are putting some names out there. So I think that, you are going to get some interest, from that, from those guys being a part of the card.
Matt Sydal is not on the list of talent scheduled to appear for Final Battle, Ari.
Oh, really?
Nope.
I thought
there was.
I thought there was an announcement of that.
I read an early release.
Right now. I got it up on my computer right now. It's Briscoe, Jay Briscoe, Jay Lethal, Red Dragon, Adam Cole, The Addiction, Young Bucks, Roderick Strong, ACH, Cedric Alexander, Mark Briscoe, BJ Whitmer, Jimmy Jacobs, Adam Page, Hanson, plus more.
Then they missed the name, or something has changed, because he was listed in the official email that they sent out. Matt Sydal is right there.
Yeah, he's not on their webpage right now, and he's not in the poster.
Well, I think we can all talk about the editing and on the website.
Well, this isn't a typo issue. This is actually a name. I think they don't have
too many explanation points.
Look, it is what it is, guys. I mean, we've all.
This is a wrestler with a name, Matt Sydal.
He's reborn.
He's reborn.
Isn't he hashtag Matt Sydal now?
Why does everyone have to be named hashtag? Why? Just be yourself. You don't need a pound sign at the front of your name.
It's because they're over, Ari. It means they're
over. Be you. Don't be a symbol. Be you.
He's hashtag reborn Matt Sydal. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Well, there you go. Speaking of those survival of the fittest, they have named 8 talents that will be a part of the tournament. And while they haven't released the format of the tournament, they have already said that the final will, of course, be the 6-way elimination style, which for me is always fun. I seem to be in the minority in that, but I always like kind of multi-man elimination matches just because I think they're a lot of fun. So
yeah, no, I've always liked the 6-way finals. It provides some interesting opportunities to, some different combinations.
So we have Matt Sydal, Cedric Alexander, Hansen, Roderick Strong, the current TV champion Jay Lethal, Caprice Coleman, ACH, and Adam Page all announced. And I'm assuming more will be coming, but yeah, I would just assume that. So of course and that's an annual thing. I think it's a way for Ring of Honor to really show who they're looking at to possibly be a pushed guy in the following year.
Yep.
Sometimes obviously there's ramifications at Final Battle, but usually I think you can just say that, okay, this is the guy they're going to focus on in the year coming up, not necessarily in the immediate future. So, ACH might be part of that.
Yeah, and I think, obviously Survival of the Fittest sometimes gets kind of lost in the wake of, the big summer tournaments, Bola and, King of Trios last month, and now, honestly, with they're doing it over 2 nights. I mean, you'd think they would need like more than 12 guys to make this a part of it. So
yeah, you'd figure 16 would be the right number.
16 or more. I mean, right. This could end up being a pretty huge tournament when all is said and done. In terms of
you just have to find a way for the 16 though to be whittled down to 6.
Yeah, I think actually Mikio and I a couple weeks ago we had sort of like fantasy booked our way through this.
Yeah, on the back of a paper plate.
Yeah, on the back of a paper plate. And
tell me you had Rhino, right?
We didn't.
No, we didn't have Rhino. But what did we figure? Did we figure it was 16 guys, or did we add more?
I think we had it at 16.
Okay. I don't know how we got to 6 minutes final.
I'm trying to think. Are there 16 people on the roster?
Do we have it at 16 or we have it at 18? I don't remember off the top of my head now that you
whatever.
We had it going in a couple of different directions with like singles matches and then then into the 6-way.
Yeah. Oh well, we did. I think we did 2 4-ways in the semis or something like that.
Right. That's what we'd had to cut. That's right. We went from 16 to 8, and then did 2 4-ways, and then had the winners of the 2 4-ways face off for the Survival of the Fittest champion.
Which isn't going to happen here, but
it's only a good idea. I mean, what am I saying?
It's something to consider for the future. Yeah, I do have to admit, we did have a stroke of genius coming up with that.
That's pretty awesome. It should be noted that
we're not being too inconsistent
on the Saturday event, for the first time ever, the Addiction versus the Briscoes. That includes the world champion Jay Briscoe and, of course, Mark. And I think that's a pretty creative way to have the world champion not be involved in the tournament itself. Or maybe he could be. You don't know. But it makes it so that this tournament is important enough that you don't necessarily need a world title match on the show itself. And this is, night 2, so obviously the tournament should be the headline, the main event of the night. So I do like that match. I think both teams obviously could be a lot of fun. I wrote up recently though that Mark Briscoe, he's just kind of there, but
Well, there's a bit of tidbit trivia there that for those of us who go way back to the beginning of Ring of Honor, that Mark Briscoe was one of the first people to join in Christopher Daniels in the Prophecy, because remember, Mark Briscoe was an antagonist to Jay at the time, and he was too young to wrestle in certain cities, and so he joined up with Daniels for a couple months, but then he left, and the Briscoes became a tag team soon after that.
Crazy to think there was a time when the Briscoes didn't have facial hair in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's kind of all the news coming out of Ring of Honor right now. I mean, obviously, I'm pretty excited. Are you guys excited for this? Obviously, we're past the second half. I guess the last quarter of 2014 for Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I think on paper everything looks really interesting, and I think if it's booked right leading into Final Battle, and they have plenty of time to set up compelling stories and interesting matchups, they really could put themselves in position to really strike gold with the traditional pay-per-view and a great card in New York City that night.
Yeah,
I
Ari,
think
what are your
there's
thoughts?
yeah, I think there's some good stuff as we hit the road to the end of the year, the road to Final Battle. I really would like to see them have I don't know, like for all of Seidel coming back, it really doesn't feel big that he's come back yet. I don't feel that, and I think they need to be really careful in building up talent and getting the young guys like I really think a Kyle O'Reilly could break out next year in singles in some way, and ACH obviously they have the talent that can take the step up, but they have to build the right opportunities for them to actually for the wrestlers to then actually do it. So I am just hoping that they don't get stuck in a rut or take the wrong route to do that. Obviously the pay per view them going to pay per view is exciting, and I hope they continue to have some modicum of success there, and it's on iPay-per-view as well. Obviously they had signed on for when they made the announcement for Best in the World. We said had also speculated and obviously considered Final Battle being the next one. So after this, who knows what happens with their pay per view? But it's been an interesting year overall with them taking chances, and I don't want to see them stop taking chances to take those next steps to just improve their business and improve their outreach to everyone in general.
Now I just think they need to take some more chances on bringing in some more outside talents that are really hitting their stride on the indie scene. There are a bunch of guys who are out there who we've all
Sure.
seen in other promotions that we know would be great for the Ring of Honor product, but they just don't bring them in for some reason or another. And maybe it's due to exclusivity. Maybe it's due to the fact that maybe these other guys want to be able to, still do all the indie bookings that they can. But there are so many really good young guys out there that ROH could really showcase in a big way. That I think that's the chance that they really need to take starting, in 2015 is bringing in some of these other names that we've all seen and we all think could really do good things. I mean, a guy like Biff Busick, a guy like, Drew Gulak. There is no reason why guys like that couldn't make a huge impact on the ROH product in 2015 and just add, more flavor to the overall product. And I think that's what they really need, as we go into 2015, because if you look at it, the roster really hasn't changed all that much, over the last year. And I think it's time for them to really start adding more pieces to the puzzle.
Well, I kind of slightly disagree because I think it's changed in that people have left and some of the bigger names on that are available to be booked on the independent scene have been added in. I mean, Daniels and Kazarian, Styles, obviously the big names. And I think obviously I agree with you that they still continue to need to be on the search for, the rising talents on the independent scene and give them the opportunity to start to make their way in the company. And that way, you continue the cycle that they've been building for years. If you just take a look at Elgin and Cole, a couple of years ago, they were the up and comers that everyone's saying, well, yeah, of course, we need to push the people who are saying who are fans of the independent scene, yeah, push them, get them in those positions because they're going to be delivering on that. But obviously, with the future of TNA being what it is, which is kind of uncertain right now, and the way they deal with the contracts right now, we've been hearing a lot of contracts are ending. It could be that we get blindsided with a shocking announcement of wrestlers from TNA coming in and doing either being signing contracts or doing one shots. It could we really don't know what the future holds as far as that. Do they choose to bring in the guys who are available from TNA and like the higher value name, quote unquote, name brands, or are they going to mix in the new guys, or are they going to have a balance of it?
See, me personally, I prefer them to kind of, if they're going to bring in those guys, just use them for, limited engagements as an attraction. But really, with the real indie guys, the guys who are out there every weekend, working, 2 shows for 2 different promotions or whatever it might wind up being, those are the kind of guys that ROH has always kind of built itself on, not the short-term attraction guys. It's the guys that they really invest time into over a long period. Like you said, with Cole and Elgin and people like that, that's what's always been the way it's been at ROH. And I think there are just so many guys that are out there right now that really do deserve a look, at least a look by ROH, and at least get them in front of the ROH crowd and see how they react. And if they get a good reaction, then you book them for a second show and take it from there. But you got to take the shot, because you don't know what you're going to get until you put it inside the ring.
You know what they should book? Wheezy Woo.
Who?
What?
You guys don't remember Wheezy Woo?
I do not know.
He had like one tryout match.
Ari, are you sniffing glue again?
No, I swear
this sounds crazy.
I swear that is a legit name of a wrestler who has wrestled on Ring of Honor.
You know what? That actually does now sound. It was like at a TV taping or something like that, right? Yeah, like a dark match or something.
That's right. See, I'm not crazy.
That is. So let's. Okay, I want to have one final discussion before we get out of here, but we should talk about the upcoming TV tapings that take place in Lakeland, Florida, on the 25th. If you're going, of course, let us know that you can send in results. The matches, or the 2 matches they've already announced: Reborn, Matt Sydal versus Adam Cole for the first time ever, and then Jay Lethal, his TV title match against ACH, which obviously I think we all said could lead into Final Battle, and we'll see what happens after that. But guys, now that we can kind of look back and have some hindsight with this, I think the question just has to be asked: what happened with Michael Elgin's title reign? Why didn't it have kind of that? Going in, I'm not saying that any of us were super excited about it, but it was definitely a turn that you could kind of see coming down the road. And he talked, in my opinion, he talked a pretty good game, bringing up past Ring of Honor champions, how he wanted to live up to that legacy, and it really just didn't happen. I'll start with you, Ari. Just your overall thoughts on what happened. To put it into some perspective, Michael Elgin's reign lasted 76 days. It is in the bottom, I almost want to say third of title reigns. He's right above Jerry Lynn, who was champion for 71 days, but below Eddie Edwards for 99 days. So, I don't know.
Wow, that's kind of a shocking stat. I didn't think Eddie had a longer run than Elgin.
Yeah, so Ari, you first. What happened? What are your thoughts on the overall?
It's hard to say. I just think he had the rug pulled out from under him. I'm not quite sure Ring of Honor had their full support behind him. I really do. Yes. I think first of all you have to consider that they've just been doing these slow burn builds to be champions for a lot of the last recent champions have been like that. And obviously not counting the tournament, and just having for Tyler Black and trying to build up what's his name, Davey Richards to the title, and Michael Elgin. It's like, I understand. I think one of the best things about Ring of Honor is their serial storytelling, but there comes a time where maybe in building these overarching long stories that maybe you overshoot the peak time to put the guy on the title. And I'm not sure Ring of Honor has ever been able to fully shake that since the Tyler Black debacle of 2009. Unlike Maxwell Bombach of the last thing, I will not say that Xavier is a better champion than Jerry Lynn, but but I think
if you said that, somebody would have to slap you.
But I think, well, yeah, and you're closer to me than he is as far as location. So, yeah, there's somewhere along the line that the Ring of Honor has sort of missed the boat on certain peak opportunities to put the championship belt around people, and build that up. But as far as Elgin goes, I mean, just to kind of bring it back to Elgin, I really don't think he was given enough time to build momentum. I don't think he was highlighted well enough. I think, if you're pushing the guy as champion, then he should be predominant on posters and advertising. And if you looked at the Field of Honor advertising, he was not on there in the beginning, and he was obviously not the highlight, not the focus. And I think that says a certain at least it says a message about him. So, I really think that a lot of people saw Elgin winning as sort of like a median point between Cole winning the title again or a transition to someone else. And they did not do anything to change that. And I want to go back to Samoa Joe, who had obviously the record run, and his first few months as a champion, other than winning the title, were not sterling at all. And he had to kind of fight to earn his respect as champion after that initial, like, oh my God, thank God the title's off Xavier feeling that him winning the title did. He didn't flounder exactly, but he didn't find his groove until a few, maybe like 4 or 5 months into the title run, and then it became.
You're right.
The
he
shot,
did scuffle for a while. He really did scuffle for a while as the champion.
Yeah, speaking of Jerry Lynn, it was like the whole thing about. I think it was Briscoe's feud, and then like AJ Styles and I think Jerry Lynn had teamed up a couple times to challenge for the tag titles or something like that. There was something with Samoa Joe finding a tag partner. Yeah, that's what it was. Joe and Lynn were together, and Joe and Styles were together for a little bit. And I think it was really in that kind of range where he started to find himself. And Elgin had a great idea with fighting former champions and taking on all comers. And I just don't think they fully executed on that idea. And when they finally did here, I guess they were just not happy with him as champion and decided, that instead of him beating the former champion and sort of adding on to his legacy, that they were going to they're going to switch the title. And they were fortunate enough, as we said last time, that Jay's inherent storyline over the last few years makes that okay for them to do. But and then again, like I said earlier, they lucked into the whole thing with this getting held up at the border situation. But ultimately, I mean, the Elgin title run is going to be this first one is going to be something of a misfire all around, and sort of like a what could have been, because I really do think this could have been something different from Ring of Honor has had in the past few years, something not quite like Joe, because Joe was a one-of-a-kind moment. It was in the early rise of Ring of Honor into its initial sort of glory days of 03 to 05, even 06, where he was like a featured star. But, I mean, the whole concept of the archetype of him as a brawler and a bruiser, taking on all challengers and looking to establish himself as legacy, that storyline is similar. And I really think they could have done that very well, sort of updated it for 2014, and it never really fully came to pass. That's a shame.
Yeah, Mikio, your thoughts on the overall title reign of Michael Elgin, and did it what happened?
Well, I feel bad for him in the sense that it seemed like they were going in his direction for so long, and they were telling that long story, like Ari said, and that it would be, that grand happy event when he finally won it, and it was, and everybody had a good time with it. And even though he beat Cole, who everybody knows is my favorite guy in ROH, I was still, I still felt good for him. You saw him and his wife, him and Mischief, his wife, in the ring, and it was a nice moment. And I thought they were going to kind of go in that direction, because the one thing I've always felt about Elgin is that until like recently, maybe like the last 6 months, the personality that he kind of conveyed wasn't very, it didn't reach you on a human level. And when you do a long burn story with a guy chasing a title, I think there needs to be some serious emotional connection that is made between the fans and the performer. And he just didn't really do that for me. I have more of an emotional connection to where he goes now because of what's gone on. And I think it kind of resets the personality of Michael Elgin. I think it resets a lot of fans' feelings towards him, in the sense that he's become people wanted to see him with the belt, but it was only because they thought he deserved it for so long. Now he becomes a much more sympathetic figure because people will always say, well, why did he lose the belt? Was something going on, something different? And now I think people will look at him through different eyes, through slightly different eyes. We know what he can deliver in the ring, and I felt bad that he didn't get a chance to really show that off more as the champion. But at the same time, I think that, down the line, it affords him the opportunity to kind of grow as a performer. I mean, it's unfortunate that it had to happen like this, but I think it allows him to grow as a performer, and it allows him to maybe, occupy a different space in the hearts of Ring of Honor fans than maybe he did before. I thought the Jay Briscoe storyline with him, not lost in like, what is it, like almost 2 years at this point. I think that culminating in that event, it made some sense, but it was still shocking. I like Briscoe with the title. I think he's a good guy to put out there on the front of your posters. He looks.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't say anything controversial.
Right. Okay, that you're absolutely true. You're absolutely right with that. But you know what? As Bischoff said a long time ago, controversy creates cash. And as long as it's the right kind of controversy, you don't want it to be homophobic. You don't want it to be the racist. So if he says shit that's a little bit outlandish, excuse my language there, that's okay. But as long as it's something that you can kind of spin or, attribute to the character that he plays, then you can kind of at least, spin it or work with it. But it's just, I feel, like I said, I feel bad that Elgin's reign ended the way that it did. But at the same time, this is the time where they're either going to make or break his future. And if they do it right, I think the benefit that he could receive out of the way that they handle it could really make a lot of people forget the fact that he did lose it and be back on his side, hoping to see him regain it.
I don't know. I think Ring of Honor fans, I'm not sure if I agree with you that they're ready to hit the reset button on that. I think people who dislike Elgin will still dislike Elgin, and all this controversy will only sort of further reinforce their feelings about him one way or the other. And
yeah, but you got to remember,
I'm not sure that's going to be to his benefit.
I was always one of the most hardcore, I don't see Elgin as the champion's guy.
Yeah.
That. I've always had that stance on him. But now I look at him totally differently.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was like maybe of all the people that you talked to about this, I was probably the most he's not an ROH champion guy. And now I'm interested to see if he can reignite that and get that back.
Yeah, and I think the other thing I wanted to point out is that as far as like the emotional outreach, I really do think Ring of Honor had something when Adam Cole, they did the angle of Cole and Maria and Michael Bennett attacking Mischief. And Elgin having to reach out.
That's something that's been done before.
Oh, sure, it's been done before, but I think it really worked very well. And the problem with
fans are so kind of they have that been there, done that attitude. So I don't think that was going to work the same way as it would have in a different promotion.
Well, I think maybe not, but I think the problem with the presentation of it was that they showed it like the very day before, or maybe the day of, the episode right before the pay-per-view. And Ring of Honor has that bad habit of this, putting stuff like that television show that like brushes right up against their big pay-per-views or pay-per-views over the last few years, where it's like it's not going to get people talking enough for them to order. It's got to take place a few weeks before so that we can use that hot angle as the building point and promo packages for it. For that big match, and I honestly think they should have had that angle, on the air a week or two before that, depending on the time frame of when that show took place compared to, them breaking in and putting it on, or just at least better building that presentation. Because if they had done it, I really do think the sympathy would have been swinging a lot more towards Michael Elgin than it had been at that point.
But this is all. You're also, what you're saying is 100% true. However, you have to remember that this is a promotion that can't get spelling stuff right on its website. So how do you think they're going to long-term plan out TV shows to give a real solid build to a pay-per-view? If you can't do basic stuff right, what you're talking about is complex long-term planning.
Yeah, but they've done that. They have complex long-term planning. They've had champions lined up they've had champions
doesn't
lined up
line up.
months before they pull the trigger on being the champion or on the championship change. I'm saying the way
Right,
they build those long-term things is a little bit off on the time frame.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If they can't plan the scheduling when the episodes run to work in concert with, not against a pay-per-view product they're trying to sell, that's just shitty management.
Yeah, that's something they need to pull together for sure. And there was another point about this, but I've long since forgotten, so I think it's good enough for now.
Well, at some point we will have a retrospective look back on Delirious's booking reign, but until, you know, hey, you never know.
I don't think it's a booking problem, Chris. I think it's a presentation problem. That if you do your TV tapings, you should know what you need to what you think should be shown, not the night before your pay-per-view, but at least a week before it, so that you can build it up on your website and through social media, so that people are going to want to buy that pay-per-view.
Right, but wouldn't that be the booker who is booking the TV episodes?
No, it's the producer of the TV show who does that.
And to be fair, it's not like WWE doesn't have this problem right now as it is. I mean, we're a week away from Hell in a Cell, and we didn't actually know the actual main event of Hell in a Cell, which is Dean Ambrose versus Seth
we still
Rollins.
don't technically know what the actual main event is.
Right.
Isn't Delirious actually the producer also?
No, I don't think he's not on the TV side. Like
Okay.
when the shows air, I don't know that he actually makes the decision of when the shows air. Like what order they pop out in.
Or the layout of, what goes when.
Right. You'd figure that
Sure.
Sinclair would be doing that.
Sure.
Maybe. Either way. I think that needs to be shaped up a little bit more, because that effectively amps up the effectiveness of their angles and they can now push their pay-per-view big matches harder. I mean, imagine, obviously they had Best in the World. Imagine they'd done that angle a month before and they had like 3 weeks of build-up, putting that package, putting the highlights together, having a backstage interview from Elgin with a reaction, having another promo from Cole saying, I'm not sorry about what I did. In fact, I relish it. Stuff like that. I mean, really, that would add even more fuel to the fire. And,
yep.
You're
100% right. You're 100% right.
When they got to Best in the World, it was more about, well, this is his finally gets his rematch, the return from the tournament, which in and of itself was fine, but it was missing that extra little soulful oomph that made you want to sympathize with Elgin. And I think Mikio now has found something to sympathize or connect with him about. And I guess I've always felt that way in some way about his character, but this new direction, whatever it may be, maybe that's the ticket, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's people are going to find things to complain about Elgin, and they're going to keep on doing their things because it's the internet, and that's how shit happens on the internet. And with Ring of Honor especially. I mean, the Ring of Honor fans are the Ring of Honor fans for both the pluses and the minuses we've talked about for many, many years, and that includes turning on guys, when they really shouldn't.
Yep.
So I think that's it hasn't happened with a larger mainstream group with Elgin, but I think that the groundswell was there. So, the other thing now I remember the last thing I wanted to talk about is, if you remember Cole's promo, right? And this is interesting to consider in the light of all this work shoot discussion, whatever it may be. Cole had done a promo right after losing the title where he said Michael Elgin was going to crumble to the pressure of being a champion. And at the time, I was like, that's a good take to have. But I'm pretty sure that he's going to have that 6 months in the final battle. He's going to prove Adam Cole wrong. But no, Adam Cole has been in some ways been proven right. And obviously they haven't really hammered this home at all, which I think gives credence to some of the more legitimate things that have happened with Michael Elgin and Ring of Honor's people, and not building it in there. But I mean, good God, I mean that could be something to hit home later on, is that Adam Cole is right about what Michael Elgin was as champion to begin with. It would be a great promo now should they rematch at some point in the future.
It was Adam Cole all along. Maybe.
He's the Nostradamus of Ring of Honor.
Yes. Well, there you go. That is pretty much it. And I kind of agree. I'm kind of in between both of you guys when it comes to Elgin's reign. I think there were some circumstances in his control and out of his control. And hey, we'll never know the full story of what was really going on backstage. But clearly, something wasn't connecting on the same level. And I'm not saying everyone had the same experience. I kind of enjoyed the title reign that he had, and I think if they had been able to flesh it out a little bit more, like you said, Ari, that I could have connected more with it. But like Mikio also, there was a little bit of a disconnect, and I don't know whether it was promos or the title match, the way it was booked. There's just something wasn't there. So, but of course, you can always send your thoughts to us, mailbag@pwponderings.com, with your thoughts on anything that we discussed, and we'll see. Obviously, going forward, we'll have results for hopefully all the shows. We'll have live coverage of the pay-per-views and pay-per-views, and yeah, guys, why don't we get out of here? Mikio, let's get some plugs in, man.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What do we got? We Love Pro Wrestling on Facebook. It's our group. Chris and Ari and myself are all administrators for that group. If you're interested in having a good chat about pro wrestling, it might be a place for you. You can find me on Twitter at Chris_Mikio. Also, I got to plug the House of Glory upcoming show here in New York City, November 1st. First time ever match with featuring Ricochet and Low Key. I know that Ari and I will be in the house that evening to see this spectacle. A good friend of ours is involved with the promotion. I won't mention any names here, but you know who you are. And we're really excited to see what you guys are up to. And if you're in the New York City area, please come out to local pro wrestling. House of Glory is doing a great job of bringing viable indie pro wrestling promotion to our city, which it really doesn't have. And it's going to be, it's only good for, New York City indie pro wrestling fans. So please come on down. House of Glory. It's in Queens, November 1st. Go to their website and get the further information. It's going to shape up to be a really nice show, so please come on down.
Unless you really do want to fly in for it. I mean, they wouldn't turn you away. Maybe.
Well, I mean, if you want to fly in, that's up to you. But, I mean, the tickets, you can buy them no matter what.
Hey, I've bought tickets to shows I had no chance of going to. So, you just got to support. You got to support indie wrestling.
Absolutely, support the indie product. That's what we're here doing, isn't it?
Pretty much. Ari, what do you have going on, sir?
Not too much. I actually am on a break, unfortunately, with writing my column of honor. The real world has intervened yet again, and I am
Don't think that has gone unnoticed.
Yeah, I am deluged with lesson planning and grading, and I just can't put. I'm a bit. If you haven't noticed, I'm kind of a bit of a perfectionist, and it's hard for me to put out a product that I don't, a column that's half-assed. So I'm going to take a little bit of time away to kind of get myself together as far as the schedule goes and get the groove going again. And I'll let everybody know when I'm back to writing some columns again. But I'm always on Podcast of Honor. We'll probably set something up to do a new ROH Retrocast because Survival of the Fittest is coming up, and I think we're going to take a look at an old school Survival of the Fittest. So we'll do that sooner rather than later. And that's it. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, it's at Ari Berenstein, or put in Column of Honor in your search bar, and it should come right up. But spelling is ARIBERENSTEIN. And as always, thank you guys for listening and for the feedback and all the cool things that you guys do to support the website, pwponderings.com. Appreciate it.
And for myself, I will have Field of Honor reviewed for Total Wrestling Magazine out of the UK. You can look them up on Facebook or go to totalwrestlingmagazine.co.uk for that. And as always, send all in your feedback. Jerome Cusa and I had a pretty awesome conversation on the weekly newscast. You can go take a listen to that about if indie wrestling could support a Hall of Fame and why we thought it was important to kind of keep a retrospective of the history of indie wrestling and those that should be, acknowledged. So Jerome apparently has taken it a step further, and he's looking for your feedback. Check it out on facebook.com/pwponderings on how to contact Jerome and let him know what you think. So for Chris Mikio, thanks again for listening. If you are checking us out on Stitchers or iTunes, leave a 4 or 5-star review. Greatly appreciated. Use our links, the Google ads, the Amazon, the high spots. You know what to do on pwponderings.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again.
The shapeshifter in his home.